Hello everyone, welcome to today's news starter. Let us begin with the practice question of the day. All right, so take a look at this question. Which among the below is India's easternmost tiger reserve? So today there was a news about it, and that's why we have added it as a question. And another important point here is whenever we are talking about national reserves, tiger reserves, biodiversity hotspots, etc., you need to know about the locations. Northernmost, southernmost, easternmost, westernmost, these things should be noted down. Already they have asked this kind of questions several times, so you need to be very careful. So look at the options provided. Orang is in Assam, Nameri is in Assam, Kamlang and Namdapha, both of them are in Arunachal Pradesh, but it's not Kamlang, it is Namdapha National Park. So about tiger reserves and national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, etc. Whenever you are getting any news, of course, it is not possible to remember each and every tiger reserve or each and every wildlife sanctuary. But whenever you are getting any of these tiger reserves or wildlife sanctuaries in the news, immediately try to look up for the map also. That is very important. Let's start with the topic of the day. The first one, the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. This was mentioned in one of the articles. So we need to know what exactly it is. What is neutrino? Let us start with this. What exactly is neutrino? Neutrinos are emitted by the astronomical objects all over the world, all over the universe. Sun emits neutrinos regularly, and whenever there is a black hole event, in such cases also neutrinos get emitted. Neutrinos are the most simplest particles. They are light waves and they rarely interact with any matter. It is the most lightest particle ever. It is thousands of times smaller than a electron. Electron is considered to be the smallest element of an atom, and neutrino is much smaller than the electrons itself, because of which it can just pass through anything, any object, whatever dense objects you place in front of it, it will just pass through it because it is the smallest. So it will pass through all the gaps in the atoms of that material. So we need very high dense materials to calculate the neutrinos. So capturing the neutrinos is very important because neutrinos provide us clear-cut idea about the origin of universe, because neutrinos doesn't change. See, whenever a object gets modified, then it is difficult to identify the origin of the object. Whereas neutrinos have been the same from the beginning of universe. So when we identify the neutrino, it becomes easy to understand about the properties also. So light, they are light particles. They are very rarely interactive with any other matter. They are also called as ghost particle because it can penetrate through any object. Electrically neutral. So this point is very important. And the mass of the neutrino is also extremely less. They can travel straight through the earth completely. It will pass through one side of the earth, it will come up out of the earth through other side. So identifying this is very difficult. So what we have done, we have created a ice cube neutrino observatory in the south pole of the earth in Antarctica, because the region is completely without any vegetation and you can construct an observatory here without much disturbances. So in order to identify the neutrinos, we have constructed this ice cube neutrino observatory in Antarctica. Thousands of sensors are buried more than 1.4 kilometer in depth in the ice. Plus multiple detectors are available on the surface also. So the idea why the sensors are buried below the earth is because neutrinos comes along with other particles also. When you have buried it under 1.5 kilometer of ice layer, all other objects, all other particles will get filtrated, and then the neutrinos will reach the observatory where the observatory can identify it. So the larger the area of the collecting area of the observatory, more chances of identifying the neutrino. So IceCube is world's biggest neutrino telescope. This point is extremely important. One point, it is located in the South Pole. This point is extremely important. Then it is the largest neutrino telescope in the entire world. Apart from that, the important points about neutrinos should be known. Study it clearly. About the gaming, online gaming laws and regulations in the country, you need to know. Can be asked in prelims, but most important from mains point of view. The why do we need to know about online gaming? It should be studied because several researchers have told that the compounded annual growth rate of online gaming sector in India is 27%. Apart from that, it is very important because most of the online gaming companies are Indian in nature. They are predominantly homegrown startup companies. That's why we need to study about online gaming. What exactly is online gaming? According to Indian law, a game that is offered on the internet and is accessible by the user through a computer or any other intermediary device. So a computer, laptop, tablet, anything. If you are using a electronic device and accessing it, and it is available online in the internet, then it is called as online game. At present, sadly, we do not have any specific law for online gaming. We have the Public Gambling Act 1867, such a old act. Then the Information Technology Act 2000. Gambling Act is for gambling, to regulate the gambling, and Information Technology Act to regulate the information technology sector. So both of this combined together gives some kind of clarity, but we do not have a specific law for this yet. In India, gaming of skill is legal, whereas game of chance is considered to be illegal. Whenever you are conducting any game, if that game only requires chance, only requires probability, there is no skill involved. Such games are considered to be gambling. Whereas if you have some skill and that skill is used to win the game, that is considered to be a proper game. Already, some states such as Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka passed law to completely ban online games, but the high courts quashed this measure by telling that how can you ban all online games when the games are very different from each other? Certain games are properly gambling, certain games require good amount of skill also, so we cannot just ban online games. Apart from that, other things that is related to online gaming is 28% of GST is placed on online gaming, casinos, horse trading, etc. Now, coming to the legal perspective, two important laws should be studied. One, the Lottery Regulations Act 1998 and Foreign Exchange Management Act. What does the Lottery Regulation Act tell? Lottery is considered to be legal in India. Several people think that it is illegal, but it is legal in India. The catch here is it is up to the state government. It should be regulated by the state government. So in certain state governments, lottery is considered to be illegal, whereas in certain state governments, it is considered to be legal. So Lottery Regulation Act manages it. Then Foreign Exchange Management Act. In Foreign Exchange Management Act, it is telling that if a person has won a lottery or racing, etc., that money cannot be used as remittances. It cannot be used as foreign remittances according to Foreign Exchange Management Act. At present, only these two laws are there, and you can see very well that is not even directly related to online gambling, online gaming. It is related to gambling and foreign remittances. So we do not have a direct law. So what should be the way forward? Way forward is very simple. We need to have a certain specific law for online gaming in India. So already a private member bill was submitted, but of course, private member bill never gets discussed that much. So it was not considered serious. But India should be passing a online gaming law. One good precedent has been done by the United Kingdom, where it has a centralized regulator for online gaming. A proper regulator is there. This regulator watches, manages, and regulates the entire gaming scenario. India can also follow that. Regulatory framework should be in compliant with the data privacy norms. All the privacy norms should be managed properly according to Digital India Act and Information Technology Act also. this will be the way forward if you are getting a question on online gambling. HPA 1C test. Anything related to science and technology is important. No article or no knowledge can be brushed away by telling that it's not important for prelims examination. When it comes to science and tech, anything can be asked. And HPA 1C test is very important because India is considered to be the diabetic capital of the world. 17% of Indians are diabetic in nature. 40% of Indians are considered to be obese. So it is a very bad scenario. Our diet is extremely rich in sugar, extremely rich in fat. So this is a very big threat for the country. In this scenario, HbA1c test is important because this is the test that is conducted to detect the diabetes level of an individual. Hemoglobin A1c, that is the name of the test. It is also known as glycated hemoglobin or glycosylated hemoglobin test. HB means hemoglobin, A1c is the code. So HbA1c test. Everyone, every person, every individual, even without diabetes, will have some amount of sugar in their hemoglobin. What is the nature of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin carries oxygen from the lungs, which we get, to all the parts of the body, each and every cell of the body. That is the function of hemoglobin. So when it is traveling, it has a certain amount of sugar, but those patients with diabetes will have high amount of sugar. So the idea of the test is take out the hemoglobin of the patients and test for the amount of sugar level. So this test measures the percentage of red blood cells that have sugar coated hemoglobin. So if the percentage is below 5.7 percentage, it is normal. If it is from 5.7 percentage to 6.4 percentage, it is considered to be pre-diabetic. More than 6.5 percentage indicates clear case of diabetes. So try to know the basics of the test, don't have to go into the details. Sagur Vision for mains examination specifically, it is very important. Sagar is security and growth for all in the region. So this talks about Indian Ocean region. India as a gross security provider of Indian Ocean region is trying to link all the countries that borders the Indian Ocean and tries to provide security and economic development for the region. So this is a vision document. Just basic idea you need to know. It seeks to deepen economic and security cooperation. This point is very important. It's not just about security. It is about economy also. Growing of maritime trade is a very important point here. So here what India will be doing, it will cooperate on exchange of information from one country to another country. Coastal surveillance, what India is doing now. We are trying to ensure the Arabian Sea is free of pirates. Every day you can see our navy is trying to take out some pirate ship and trying to secure the people. So it talks about coastal surveillance, building of infrastructure, and strengthening the capabilities, ensuring Indian Ocean to become completely inclusive, collaborative, and respect the international law. This point is very important because China has been crossing the international law. They are not following the law of the sea. United Nations Convention for Law of Sea, UNCLOS, that is to be considered very seriously by the individual countries, but China has not been following it. So that's why we have mentioned respect international law. The most important relevance of Sagar is when you link it with other policies and doctrines of India. What are the other policies and doctrines? Act East policy is there. Sagar Mala is there, developing infrastructure in the ocean. Project Mosam is there, again, coastal management. In India as the net security provider and blue economy. So when you link with all these projects, we can tell that Sagar Vision is very big in nature. Main practice question of the day in the context of increasing Chinese influence in Indian Ocean, because China has been investing more in Myanmar, it has been investing more in Sri Lanka, it has been investing more in Maldives. Their ships, surveillance ships, are rotating all over, revolving all over the Indian Ocean. So in that scenario, we need to know what measures India has taken. Measures India has taken, you have to mention 5-6 measures, give a brief idea about it. Sagar Doctrine, Indian Ocean Rim Association, and India, USA, Australia, Japan together quad grouping. So these kind of measures you can mention. Act East policy also can be mentioned, and you can finish the question. A very important point for mains examination, because this year election is there and there is a lot of discussions about the appointment of election commissioner. We need to know specifically about Article 324. Article 324 of the Constitution clearly tells superintendence, direction, and control of election. Complete control of election will be under a election commission. And it tells that such an election commission will have a chief election commissioner and any number of election commissioners that is required by the president. So it does not tell that you need to have only 3 election commissioner or 2 election commissioner. It doesn't have a specific number. So for a very long time, we just had 1 election commissioner. Later, the government introduced 2 other election commissioners also. So at present, we have 3 election commissioners, one CEC, that is Chief Election Commissioner, and 2 normal election commissioners. Who is appointing it? Appointing them? The president is appointing them. President will not just like that appoint. At present, we also have a specific law. A new law has been passed in 2023, according to which the panel, a certain panel will be there. That panel will recommend the names to the president. Panel will include Prime Minister, a union minister, a union cabinet minister that is recommended by the prime minister, then the leader of opposition. So this should be known by you. Apart from that, one very important point you should be knowing is the Supreme Court has told that the panel should include the Chief Justice also, but government has not taken it into consideration. And at present, the case is going on in the Supreme Court. So these are all the basic things you need to know from today's newspaper. Read all the concepts very well. Try to remember all the concepts very well. It is going to help you in your prelims. All the best.